Alright guys, today I have another DIY for you. Got a pile of stuff here. Just the stuff here in the foreground, ignore the junk in the background. See if you can figure out what I'm going to make here before I actually say it. I've got some aluminum bar. This is 1/8 by 3/4, 3-foot section. Only going to need maybe 8 inches, 10 inches, something like that. So I've got that. This is approximately 5 mil titanium bar. You could probably use cold rolled steel or drill bits or whatever if you don't want to go out and buy a piece of titanium bar, but it's stuff I had from another project, so that's sitting there too. These are some screws, just 3 mil screws. These ones are I think it's like 16 mil. They may be a little bit long for this project. I would suggest 14 mil, maybe even 12. They really don't need to be too long, but you need 8 of those. And then these I picked off of eBay. These are 14 millimeter standoffs, threaded 3 mil. So I got a bag of those. I'm going to need, I think, 4 of those, depending on how things turn out. I really don't know what to expect from this project. I honestly don't know if it's going to work out at all, so you may or may not even see this video. This may be a waste of time. And then I've got 5x11 bearings of 4 of those, and I've got 2 Traxxas 17 to 32 pitch pinions. And then I've got this fancy little sticker I made on my vinyl cutter. This is a bit of a template, so I'm cheating a little bit here. So it'll be a little more difficult for you to do it measured, but should still be relatively possible. So what I'm going to be making here is I'm going to be attempting to make a transfer case, a 1-to-1 transfer case. So quick rundown is I'm going to cut 4 pieces of the flat aluminum, and I'm going to drill them through 2 of the pieces to accommodate the bearings, 2 of the pieces slightly smaller than the bearings to hold the bearings in place, and I'm going to use the titanium rod as a shaft inside the pinion, go through the bearings, through the pinion, and to the outside of the aluminum bar to have somewhere to mount the drive shafts onto. And then the screws will hold the standoffs apart so that they hold the aluminum bar apart enough that the pinions can sit between the bar. Right now you're like, what the hell is this guy on? I do not understand a word he just said. But by the end, you'll understand. It'll make sense. But right now I know I just babbled and nobody understands what the hell's going on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do some measurements and get back to you. Alright, here we are. Right? So I did some measurements. I drew a little picture for you guys, try and get an idea of what's going on. So we've got the shafts here. Where's just something to point at it for you. These are going to be the shafts that are going to run right through, both of them, the 2 titanium shafts. I'm going to leave about 10 mil on the outside of the first aluminum plate for the drive shafts to go onto. I'm going to have to flat spot that so that the drive shafts can go on there. And the second aluminum plate is going to butt up right against it, but that one I need to have, first aluminum plate is going to be about 3 1/4 inches. The second one's going to be about, second one's going to be about 4 mil because that's how wide my bearings are. Then these are the pinions here. That's going to be 14 mil. The pinions are just over 13, but the standoffs are 14, so I'm going to leave a little extra room for that. And then the same deal on this side. So I did a little math and I've ended up with about 40 mil I need to make these shafts, so I'm going to do that first. I needed 2 40 mil sections of this bar, so what I did was I just measured 80 mil right about there and just flat spotted the whole section so that my pinions will have somewhere to sit and won't slip. So now I'm going to go and cut this into two pieces, approximately 40-45 mil long. I gave myself a little extra room just to play with. I can always cut it down later. Alright, so there we go. Put that away. Got two chunks, approximately 45 mil each. Still a little warm. Blew up a couple cutting discs. That comes with the fun. So what these are going to be is they're going to be the shaft. We're going to put a pinion on there. We're going to put a washer or a bearing on either side. The bearing is going to be in a piece of the flat bar aluminum and another piece of flat bar aluminum to hold the bearing from the outside. The pinion will hold the bearing from the inside, with the standoffs being just the right length, so that's fine. I might have shaved the standoffs down half a mil or a mil, not a big deal. They're threaded all the way through, so that's no problem to just hack it down a little bit on one end or the other. Just hit it with the sander. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this stuff off to the side. I'm going to grab the flat bar and I'm going to put my template. I have my template here. I'm going to just measure my template, the width, and I'm going to cut 4 pieces of flat bar, and I'm going to sand them down so that they're all the exact same size. I want them to be the exact size of this template. This template I had pre-made on the computer after I did some other measurements on a first failed attempt at a transfer case. So just so you guys have my measurements in case you want to do this yourself. I have about 38 1/3 millimeters long. You could probably go 40. I'll probably just go 40 just to make it safe, because I need to accommodate for some 3 mil screws in there now. And about 19 mil high, which is, I believe, is the same as the 3/4. Yeah, same as the 3/4 flat bar, so that's why you get 3/4 flat bar. You don't have to cut it that way. You just have to cut it about 40 mil wide and 4 pieces of that, and then I'll show you what's next. Okay, so I got my 4 pieces of aluminum cut here. Roughly 40 mil each, a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, and some. They're really rough. I haven't sanded them down yet. I want to make sure that I get the hole placement for the pinions perfect before I go any further, otherwise I'm wasting my time, because I'm going to have to recut all of that aluminum again and redo anything that I do from this point forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my template on the top one. I'm going to drill the holes on the top one, and then I'm going to take some vice grips or a vise and stack them all perfectly and drill through the other ones using the top one with the template as a pilot. And then after I do that on the one hole, I'm going to take it out of the vise. I'm going to put a 3 mil screw. I'm just going to drill a 1/8 hole for now, and then I'll slowly work up to what I need to have it for a size. I'll put a 3 mil screw through it, make sure everything's lined up perfect again, put it in the vise again, drill through the other one, so I know that the first hole is perfectly lined up. I know the second one is, because that's where the drill bit went through, and I'm hoping that my mesh for the 2 gears will be perfect by the time I'm done with that. So I'm going to give that a shot. Oh, and I'm sure somebody's going to ask, how did I get my template? How did I make my template? Basically, I just put the 2 gears together like this, loosely, and I measured center to center on those holes, and that's where you drill your holes. So what you could do realistically is you could just kind of drop them onto your aluminum, mark through one of them, Just kind of get them as close to center as you can. Mark through one of them, drill that one out, then measure your measurements, then mark where your second one's going to be, then screw all the plates together and drill the second one. It's really important that all the plates get the pilot in the exact same spot so that they will all line up and there won't be any like the gears won't kind of be meshing on the side or anything like that. Otherwise you'll have binding issues and then the whole project is a waste. Alright, so my first attempt is a waste. You can see the holes are just too close together that the gears won't mesh, and they definitely won't fit the other plates on top. It's way off from the hole, so I'm going to have to try re-drilling them again and go from there. It's just how it goes. Doesn't always work the first time, doesn't always work the second time. Just keep trying until it works, I guess. Okay, so after my first failed attempt, I got the aluminum all cut up again. I'm going to approach it a little different this time. I'm going to just drill one of the holes, and oh, I got some discrepancies on my sizes. Hopefully that'll work out. I'm just going to just drill one of the holes, then I'm going to put the pin in with the pinion and secure it somehow. And I'm going to put the other one beside it. I'm just going to drill right through the middle of the pinion so I know it's perfect, because my template idea didn't work out so well for me the first time. So see how this goes. So there's the plan. I got the aluminum chunks more or less lined up. The one grub mounted, I just put another, or the pinion, I just put another pinion on the back just to hold that shaft in place. Put the other one beside it with a decent mesh. A little bit of a tick there, but that's good. And I'm just going to drill through this one now, and hopefully it ends up where it needs to be this time. Alright, so here's the basic concept now, and as you can see, I spin the one and the other one spins. So that's kind of the concept of the Tcase. And then the transmission drive shaft will be coming into one of these, and then the two drive shafts to the axles will be coming onto out of the other shaft. And if I really wanted to, I don't know how well that would work, but if I had a 6x6, you could even make the other one come off onto the far rear axle. I don't know how you'd arrange that as far as links and stuff go without having interference, but it's a possibility, maybe. I'm not sure. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these back together so that they're perfectly lined up, and I'm going to drill 4 holes in the corners to put the 3mm screws in with the standoffs between them. The standoffs are, where did I put them? Right here, 14mm, so they'll be slightly bigger than the pinions. I might have to shave them down a little bit so that they're perfect, because the pinions are going to be what's holding the bearings in. That's another thing I'm going to do. I'm going to drill out the inner 2 plates. So if I have the 4 plates like this, I'm going to drill out this plate and this plate, the 2 inner plates, to accommodate the bearing, the 5x11 bearing. Then the 2 outer plates, they're 5mm right now. I want to drill them out at least to like 7 or 8mm, just so that they don't touch the shaft and create any friction. They'll still hold the bearing in though, because they'll be less than the 11mm of the outer race of the bearing. So they'll still hold the bearing in there, but they won't touch the shaft. So I'm going to go ahead and drill the 4 holes and drill out the plates for the bearings, and by the time I come back, it should be functional, as long as all goes well. Alright, so I've drilled the centers out to a 9mm. I made all 4 of those 3mm holes, and now I'm just going to take out the 2 center plates and drill them out to just around 11mm to accommodate the bearing. Alright, so here it is, basically functional. Once I got it together, I found out that it was too tight. The pinions were pushing on the bearings, so I just put a little washer in between the pinion and the bearing on all 4 of them. So I'm going to have to actually space out these little standoffs a bit. Just put a couple of 3mm washers in them, no big deal. But here it is. It's functional, homemade DIY transfer case. Pretty smooth, works okay. Could probably even run it dry since it's wide open. It won't hurt it. It's just steel on steel, 32 pitch. I don't think you'll ever strip that thing out anyway. But there it is. These are just here for standoffs because my screws are too long. They were buttoned up against each other inside those brass standoffs. So I'm going to get it all cleaned up and give you guys one final look once it's how I want it to be. Might even give it a shot of paint. I'm not sure yet. Alright, it's done. There it is, the completed transfer case. Shave down the edges, clean them up a little bit. It's a little prettier. It's still warm because I just finished grinding down the edges. Even ground down some of the washers there. And put the right length of screws in there so it's nice and clean now. Let's see if it's not too warm. I'll show you how it works. Yeah, it's too warm. I'll grab some vice grips here. There we go. So you can see I have the shaft. I got that in my hand here. And the other one is spinning. And same at the bottom. It's spinning. It'll spin the opposite way, so you have to accommodate for that through your reverse on your motor or however else you want to do it. Reverse your axles, whatever you want to do. But there it is. Works fine. Relatively quiet, relatively smooth. Not bad for a DIY project. There you go. DIY Tcase. If I had to guess, I'd say I'm into this for, including the stuff I had laying around, which didn't cost me anything, I'd say maybe $15, and that includes like a 3-foot flat aluminum. So I've still got tons of that left. So I mean, it's more time than anything else. Again, all it really took was a little bit of flat aluminum, the standoffs, 2 pinions, some rod. You could use drill bits for that. I used titanium rod, some screws, some washers, 4 bearings. That's it. So it's a little bit involved, a little bit difficult for a DIY, but for the price, it's saved me $80 on the thing, because the Tcases usually go for $80-90, sometimes $100 and sometimes more. You could even do, if you wanted to do a reduction or a step up in this, you could do that as well. Just use different size pinions. You could even do one that's both. You could have a big pinion and a small pinion, have shafts coming out both sides. So you could do it whichever way you wanted. At any given time, you just switch your shafts as to which side your drive shaft is on and which side your the shaft that goes to the axles is on. You could have it underdrive or overdrive, whichever way you want. Anytime you want, just swap it over. Now for mounting, I'm probably just going to drill some holes in these standoffs and tap those to 3mm and then drill it down to a plate. Hell, I could even just zip tie this thing on there, like just go through the standoffs or around the entire thing and zip tie it into the truck. There's so many different mounting options, so I'm not really going to get into that. I honestly don't even have a truck to put this in yet. This was just a good idea that had come to me. I've always wanted to do a Tcase, because just in case I ever do have a really scale build where you don't want the big transmission in the front, in the middle. You want to relocate it up front so that it's under the hood and totally out of view of the interior and stuff. It's mostly for if you want to do an interior, then you can't have the transmission in there because it's just in the way. So you put this under the interior, and then you put the transmission up at the front of the chassis under the hood, and then nobody can see it, and it looks a lot more scale. But I don't really have anything to put this in right now, but I'm sure I will come up with a project that will need it at some point. So that's the DIY transfer case, and I hope this helps somebody out. Hope it helps you save a few bucks and make your build that much better. And hope you enjoyed the video. Hope it was informative. Catch you later.